welcome welcome to the 2021 NCRSP training session. And for most people that may be on here of old treasures, it's a refresher course. Of course, highlighting some new information that has been brought about by some changes, some comments, and some complaints. So we are doing what we can to make sure everyone who's aboard on the treasurer's team, even for some of the presidents that are on board, make sure everyone's up on what it is that needs to be done, anything that needs to be changed, and hurrahs for all the things that is continuing on forward on the good foot. And for all the new folks that are coming aboard, we're going to try to go over as many of the questions in the areas that are prominent to your position as treasurer. It may not cover every single question at this point, but trust and believe, if you come across a situation in your role that you may need help with or additional information, the line to NCRSP state office, as well as some of your other comrades in the field, are always open to helping. Okay. And just because you don't know at the moment doesn't mean that you can't find an answer, or that there is an answer that can solve any of those problems or questions that are out there. But what we are going to do, we're going to pretty much go through the basics with you. It's going to give you the information. We're going to touch on those bullet points, and then we're going to allow for questions to be asked, and makes for anybody who needs a little clarity to some things. I need to introduce Laurette Lewis. Laurette Lewis is a Region 7A's treasurer, and she is actually going to facilitate the training with me, and give you all a firsthand look with exactly coming from somebody who's out there in the field with you in these local areas, that knows how to do this job and can help you understand it even better than what we might be in the state office to. Okay, so I am going to turn it over to Laurette Lewis.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not seeing myself on the screen. That's why I have a telephone up here. Click on this.
And if folks have immediate questions while she's going through, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we will definitely go over and make sure we answer all questions. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to go ahead and mute your lines unless you have a question that you're answering or asking.
I'm trying to get myself on the screen, but there's a telephone thing. Do I need to click on that?
Actually, we can see you.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can start.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Laurette Lewis. I'm the Region 7A treasurer, has been the treasurer for quite a while. And like Tara said, for most of you, this is going to be sort of like a refresher. You will have heard most of this information before, but I'm going to start off with a little introduction about what is the role of the treasurer. The treasurer has an important role of overseeing all aspects of financial management, working closely closely with other members of the executive board and chairpersons. It is not a difficult or time-consuming position unless you make it that way. You need a general knowledge of financial procedures, good math, organization, communication, and people skills. The treasurer is an intricate member of the team, working with officers, committee chairpersons, and general members. In summary, the treasurer is responsible for these certain things: general financial oversight of your local, oversee and present budgets, accounts, and financial statements to the executive board and members, communicate with the president about financial matters, ensure that appropriate financial systems and controls are in place, ensure that record keeping and accounts meet the requirements of the state organization, ensure use of funds complies with guidelines set by local and state organizations, ensure effective monitoring and accurate reporting to the members, financial planning and budgeting, prepare and complete budget with president and finance committee each year, present revised financial transactions based on actual spendings, present regular reports on the organization's financial position to the executive board and to the membership, prepare accounts for yearly audit as required by the state and submit the audit report to the state when it is due. Present financial report to executive board and at general membership meetings. You are to manage all bank accounts, set up appropriate systems for record keeping, payments, and petty cash. Ensure that all monies are recorded and documentation is presented for spending. You are in charge of, responsible for collecting all monies and keeping documentation for fundraisers or any monies that come into your local. Okay. You're going to hear some of these things again. We're going to go into more details on each one of them. If you would look on the screen, the legal responsibilities, you can find these in the, we're not going to go through these, but you can find these in your state constitution or whatever. So let's go with legal responsibilities. Be aware of the state law that gives us special responsibilities of nonprofit groups. Keep the NCRSP documents governing physical affairs. You are to encourage a planned budget presented to members for endorsement. And to protect your nonprofit status, each unit and region needs their own employee identification number. That's an EIN. Okay, and these may be obtained by contacting the IRS. Bank accounts by state policy must have two names on the signature card. An annual audit is required by state policy. Be extremely careful with scholarship funds. I recommend you have another group such as school system foundations administer them for you, because you are not to use any member dues for your scholarships. You are dealing, excuse me.
Hold on, I'm just gonna listen in here. I need to. Wait, wrong line.
Okay. Can I continue?
Yes.
Okay. You are dealing with members' money. Report to them in detail what is happening with their money. Treasurers should be bonded. And by being bonded, that means that you are covering you and whoever else is dealing with the money in your local in case something will happen and money goes missing, or in any cases, which I know will never happen with any of us, someone would decide they just want to leave and take all the money that you have. But if the treasurer and the person, whoever's name is dealing with the money, is on their signature card, should be bonded. There are insurance companies that you can contact, such as Nationwide, Horace Mann, which the state office used, and there are a lot of others in your city or town where you live. You can look. Now, the cost for being bonded depends on how much you are bonded for. That means how much money you have in your treasurer, or what amount your executive board decides on that you want to be bonded for, and how many people you are going to bond. We'll come back if you have questions about that later. Okay. Dues receiving, transmittal, and quarterly payments. This is where some changes have come about. So please look at this very carefully. 2021-22 general information on NCRSP membership dues. All local treasurers will receive members' cash pay forms to distribute in August. Okay, last year, I think the forms were sent directly to the members. This year, the forms will be sent to the treasurers for the treasurers to send to their cash pay members, collect their forms back and their dues, and send them in to Raleigh. All cash pay member dues are to be paid by December 15th. You may send as many transmittals as you have dues ready. Please do not hold your members' dues. Send them in as you collect them. When sending at least 5 or more checks, don't send one at a time or whatever, but be reasonable, but send them in. Please don't hold them for a whole month and say, I'm going to wait and see if I can get them all back. Okay. And all checks, and you need to remind your members when you send those forms out in your information letter to them, all checks are to be made payable to NCAE. Dues will be distributed to region treasurers on a quarterly basis, and they will distribute the dues to the locals. Now, our quarters, we have first, second, third, fourth quarter. Treasurers, you will get your first quarter check probably sometime in December. There is no date because it just depends on how they're processing the checks and things that come in. But you will get your dues, and you are to get them to your locals as soon as possible. There are still members on payroll deduction, but now only new members, and these are members that are joining for the very first time, are eligible to join by payroll deduction. So if you have someone that has been a member and they were not payroll deduction, then they need to be cash pay or EFT. Just the first time, very new members are eligible to join by payroll deduction. All officers receive monthly membership reports by email from NEA reporting. This is how you know who pays what division they're in, and so forth. And you need to really look at those monthly membership reports. And then you should send a copy of that monthly membership report to your regional treasurer, because this is the only way that the regional treasurer will keep up with the membership numbers. And if you don't get your membership report from the NEA reporting, you need to call Raleigh and talk with Tara and let her know that you are having a problem. You are not getting your membership report, but they do send them every month. And it's usually around the first of the month that they send them.
Let me specify something. When we're talking about receiving the monthly membership reports, there are 4 reports that are received to all officers. So if you have a treasurer who does not have an email address, they won't get them. They are not sent through the mail. They are only sent to an email. So if we have an email address for those officers, which is your president, your secretary, your vice president, and your treasurer, they all will get those monthly reports coming through the NEA reporting system. It is nothing that we actually do in Raleigh to generate those reports. It comes through the system. Now, the only thing that Raleigh will do on a constant basis is make sure for anyone who is needing to update their email address, we go in the system to update to make sure everyone's email address is correct. Of course, that's only when we're notified of a change of email addresses. Please know that that is going to be your source of where those membership reports come to, okay? So if you have an officer who is supposed to be getting it, but they don't have an email, it is going to be up to the rest of the officers in that local unit to get those membership reports to that officer who does not have email.
Hey, and let me add that if you get a monthly report and you say, and someone, or you'll say, well, their name is not up here and I know they paid, it's gonna depend on when they pay their dues. And then also, I think when they do, if they're EFT, when the bank draft comes out, is that true, Tara?
That is true. Bank drafts happen actually the 2nd and the 25th of the month. It depends on how you actually ask for that draft to happen. And for anyone who, for some reason, the draft didn't go through at the beginning of the month, they will actually try again if you ask them to on the 25th, but it will change your draft date to the 25th. And for some people, it actually is a good time to ask for that draft because that's when your pension checks come in, normally around the 25th, depending on if it falls on the weekend or a holiday. But you can opt to have your draft, whether it be a bank draft or a credit card draft, on the 25th of the month, if it makes anyone more comfortable with making sure that that money is there for the draft to take place.
Okay, and also if they are a credit card payer, this is how we lost some members because their credit cards numbers change, or expiration date change and so forth. Please make sure that if there is a change with the credit card that they're using, that they need to report that so their dues can come out, that deduction can come out. Someone flashed a question on the screen. All checks, about checks being where they are to be sent. Checks are made payable to NCAE. The cash pay members send the check to the local treasurer, and the local treasurer send the checks into Raleigh. They do not deposit, you do not deposit the checks in your checking account. You send the checks into Raleigh. Okay. All right.
Let's see if there's any more questions.
Tara, there's a question in the chat, just for clarification.
Mhm.
So we are to forward checks written for dues and not deposit in our local account and not write a check for me.
Yeah, that's the one I
Please,
just.
please. Please,
Sorry,
there
I'm
should
a little
be
late.
no, there should be no local deposits. When you get a check from your member that is coming to you as a local treasurer, please, by all means, in turn, send all those checks to Raleigh. They should never be put in to your local account and send one big check. That is a headache and a mess, and we cannot have that go on.
And I have
Please.
one other statement. Some locals have an extra activity fee, or their local dues is expanded or whatever. Now, you need to explain to your members when they are sending in checks, if they're going to pay something else for local dues or your activity fee or whatever, they need to write 2 checks. Okay, and not combine the checks with their membership dues. Now, the check, like Tara said, send that check payable to NCAE into Raleigh, and then the one, if they're going to write one for your local dues or whatever, or activity fee, whatever you call it, that's extra, then they can make that payable to your local.
Okay, Ginger, did you raise your hand for a question?
I did. I had just put it in the chat that on the form, at the bottom of the form, it gives the Raleigh address to return the membership applications. I usually will ask my new members to send it to me so that I can record them, and then I send it to Raleigh. Is that official?
Yes, you still can do that. Yes, ma'am,
Okay.
you sure can.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Next.
Yeah, I have a question. Is that a change about writing 2 separate checks, one for the state and NEA dues, and then a separate check for the local dues? Is that a
No,
change?
no.
Okay, just
no.
asking.
That's totally different. Some locals will have they have their local dues in their membership dues payment, but if they want more money in their treasurer, they're doing more activities, they will ask their members to pay maybe an extra $10 or $15. So that has nothing to do with their total membership dues.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty, thank you.
Mhm. Okay, now we're gonna go over some more notes.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Got one more thing. In these notes, you might hear some repetition, but you can't hear anything too many times. Maybe it'll stick with you. Keep accurate financial bank records. And this is very important because if your records are not correct, then you can't give any correct reports to your executive board and to your members. Now, bank accounts should have 2 names on it, the treasurer and president or another officer. And the reason for this is if something would happen to the treasurer, then the president, just like I think our local, the president right now is acting as the treasurer because they don't have a treasurer. But if something would happen to either one, then someone can still carry on the official financial business of the local. Okay, the president should receive a copy of the monthly bank statement. You can do this by making a copy and giving it to your president. They can go online. If you do your banking online, they can go online and print out a copy, or they can ask the bank to mail them a copy if their name is on the signature card. Give financial reports to local executive board and members. You should be having executive board meetings, and at that meeting, you should give a financial report. Now, when you give your report to the membership, if your meeting come after that, it may change. It may not be the same financial report because you may have dispersed some checks, you may have had some income to come in, or something have changed. But at your executive board meeting, and I don't know, some locals have executive board meetings every month or right before their meetings or whatever. And I hope everybody should be having executive board meetings. Is that not correct, Tara? Okay. And
That
your
is true. Yes.
Right, and your executive board consists of your officers and your committee chairpersons. So you need to have a financial report and keep them informed at each one of those meetings and at the membership meetings. And I don't know about your budgets, and we'll talk about that later, but it's nice when you make a copy for your members that come to your meetings, or put it in your newsletter or some way where they can see exactly what you're talking about and what you're reporting. Okay, collect all membership dues and send reports to state. You, the treasurer, is responsible for collecting any monies that come into your local, and membership dues is the main one. The membership chair is not responsible for collecting dues and should not be collecting dues, because that membership chair can get some checks or whatever and be holding, you don't know about it or whatever, and something can happen. And then, you have some explaining to do. But then now that membership chair can collect the check if they bring some members in or whatever, but they need to turn it over to the treasurer. And the treasurer is responsible for the collection of those dues and sending the report to the state. Disperse checks, payments with approval following local's policy. Each local should have a policy. You should have some practices and policies for your local. And whatever that is on how you would disperse checks, then that's what you should follow. There should be a form. Some locals may have a form for the people to fill out. They have the treasurer to come up with a form to fill out in order to get reimbursement or to get a check. But you need to follow your local's policy. Manage locals' financial matters, fundraisers. If your local's having a fundraiser, you should be managing that. You don't have to be in charge of it, but you should manage all of the monies that come in and go out for that fundraiser. Work with appointed finance committee and president to create a budget for the local to be approved by the executive board and membership. Now you can come up with a finance committee, and you should have a finance committee because you're going to need some help with this. It doesn't matter whether it's 2 people, 4 people, 5 people, whatever you feel comfortable with, but you should have a finance committee, and the president should be on that committee. And you all create a budget, take that budget back to the executive board. If they approve it, then you take it to your membership and let them vote on the budget. Communicate with president and executive board. Now, that's one thing that's very important. I've had some treasurers, some presidents tell me, well, my treasurer doesn't tell me anything or whatever, but you have to communicate with all the officers, but especially the president. And the president should know what's going on every minute with the locals' money. Work with the audit committee and president to complete the annual audit report and send to the state office by the due date, which is August the 15th. It's always August the 15th. Now that audit report, we're going to go over that later. We have an example of it. So we will go over that. If you have any questions, you can ask then. But please make sure, because if you don't send in your audit report on time, your money can be held in Raleigh. That has happened. Nonprofit organizations, and this is very important, should spend at least 50 to 85% of income on members. Because this is where your income comes, most of it from member dues. Please don't let your money just sit there in your accounts and you have all this money and you never do anything for your members. That's what the money is for. Spend it at least 50 to 85%, and that's because you're a nonprofit. I mean, you are not holding all that money in the bank to earn interest, all this interest and so forth. You'll find yourself getting in trouble with the IRS. So please spend your money and spend it on your members, okay? The treasurer, and this is most important, also, the treasurer does not make personal decisions regarding the locals' money. You are just a keeper of the money. You are not, you can't say, well, I don't want to write this check, or I don't think we should spend this, or whatever. That's up to your executive board and your members. So please remember that. The state mileage is 35 cents per mile. If you pay, and in your budget, you'll see you should have a line item for your president's travel or so forth for meetings. And if you pay for the mileage, now that's the state cheap rate, 35 cents per mile, but you can have it set any amount that you want to pay your members, depending on where they're going or what they're doing. But please remember that. The membership chairperson should not collect any dues, and I've gone over that because you are held accountable for that. Are there any questions about any of those items right off?
Rachel Madsen, does this 35 cents pertain to the regions, or can the regions set their own amount?
You can set your own amount to, the
Just
local,
like the
the
local.
local and the region can set their own amounts.
Okay, thank you.
Want to, that's just what we just say, just what the state only pay their,
I
when
got you.
they were coming in to Raleigh, whatever, they only pay them 35 cents a mile. But you can set your rate at anything that you want. That will be in your budget. So
I got you.
know how much money you have to spend.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
What are some of the examples of money that's spent on the members?
Okay, we're gonna go over a budget, and that might answer some of your question. That question. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions about any of these ones? Okay. You see now, this is Smiling Town Retired School Personnel Proposed Budget for 2020-21. All right, your budget is based on the expected number of members. And if you say, well, we expect our membership, and I just go by the membership from the end of the year. Okay, so let's say at the end of the year, we had 100 members. Now, our projected income, whatever you have, your balance in your checking account, then your ending balance if you have a share account. All locals do not have a share account or a savings account, okay? Most locals just have one thing, that's a checking account. Okay, your membership, state, local dues. The state sends you back $10 for each member. So if you predict 100 members, you're gonna get back $1,000 from the state. That's the payment you get in those quarterly payments, dues payments, okay? And they are not equal payments either. So the first quarter is usually the largest check. Then it goes on downhill from there. The second quarter is okay, but third quarter, by the time you get to the fourth quarter, you're talking about pennies, okay? So those checks are not the same. Now, this local has a member activity fee. This is what I was talking about. In addition to that $10 that those people have paid in their membership dues, they probably asked their members to pay another, $5. So they are predicting that all their 100 members is gonna pay their $5 activity fee, and they're gonna collect $500. Okay, they're gonna have a fundraiser, and they expect to earn $200. So their total estimated income is $1,880. Now you go to your expenditures, your educational grant. If you give, I don't have to call it scholarship, we said educational grant, $200. Okay, publications and printing, and that would include if you have agendas or programs and so forth, whatever your secretary might have something. So $250 for that. Memorials, if you have a member that will die. Now I know in our local, we always send the family think it's $25. So if you have memorials or whatever you do for memorials, that's $100. Treasure supplies. Now your treasure supplies is very limited. It's $50. You don't have a lot of supplies. You may have to reorder checks, something like that, but that's about it. Now, member mailings. This is when you send out your cash pay forms, your letters, inviting your members to come to the meeting or whatever. But this for mailing, $300. And depending on the size of your local, it can be more than that, but you would determine that. Hospitality, that's if you have refreshments or food at your meetings. People love to eat in our local. We always have food at the meeting, so $150. Community projects and region projects. Okay, now as a region project, we've had in our region, the locals, we had like brag boards that they had to make. They had, we asked them to do contributions to the children funds and so forth. But any of those projects pertaining to the region or community projects, you may have done something for Teacher Appreciation Week or whatever for the teachers in your school system. But include all of that. That's $300. Membership projects. Now this is where someone asked a question earlier about where you spend that money on your members. Birthday cards, prizes, get well cards, celebrations for holidays, luncheons, and so forth. Does this answer the lady that asked that question about what do you use your money for on your members? But anything you can come where it says member projects that you are giving back to your members, that's what that will come in. They have $100, which this one they don't do that much evidently. And then the NCRSP state convention delegate expenses. Now that's up to you, whether you want to pay their registration fee, or you want to pay their gas mileage, or you're going to pay their hotel room or whatever. And that depends on how many delegates you're going to send to the convention also. $200, they must be just going to send their president. Website, if you have a website, you have to pay for the upkeep of that. And president expenses, this is when your president, you pay their mileage when they have to go to a regional meeting. When they have, because they're on the executive board, they have to go to regional meetings. So you can pay their expenses for that. And a contingency fund is what you're gonna have where you can go to if you get really low. So the total estimated expenditures is $1,880. It should balance out with your total estimated income. And then your treasurer go down, your treasurer should sign it. Your budget committee members should sign it and the date it was adopted. Now you are to take this budget back to your executive board, present it to your executive board. You can make any changes. Now a budget is nothing that's written in stone. A budget is just a guideline for you to use, okay, for your monies. So it can be changed. When you take it to your executive board, your president might say, well, she didn't say anything in the meeting, but when she get with her executive board, she might say, I need more than $100 for my expenses or whatever. And your executive board can discuss it or whatever. And if you want to change it, you can change it. But any of those numbers can be changed when you present it to your executive board. And you go back with your committee, put in the changes that the executive board has proposed, and then you take this budget to your membership in a membership meeting. And everyone should have a copy and then vote on it. And if it passes, then that's your budget for the year. Here again, a budget is not etched in stone. It can be changed at any time. You can shift from one, with permission from your executive board, you can shift monies from one, for an example, you don't have anybody to die, no memorials or whatever, you can use that $100 in another category. Are there any questions about a budget? And every local should have a budget. Questions?
Okay, no questions? Moving on.
Finance report.
Okay. Your finance report is what's showing right now. It is going to help you when you're actually reporting out to your membership body. Okay? Go ahead, Lorette.
It's not on the screen.
It's not.
No.
Okay, hold on.
Lorette, I have a question. You need a budget committee, a finance committee, and an audit committee?
Well, yeah, well, you can have the same people.
Okay.
You know, some of the same ones, but yes, you need those 3 committees. You really don't need an audit committee, okay? We'll talk about that when we get to the audit form, but you don't have to have a committee for the audit, okay? But you do need that finance committee and the budget committee, okay?
Okay. Are you
Right.
seeing it now?
Yes, I see it now. The financial report. Okay, and this is a very simple one. Now, everybody have their own pattern of how they report, but this is one. These are things you have to let your members know how much money they've got, how much money was deposited, how much was spent, and so forth, and what it was spent on. These are the important things that should be in a financial report. Okay, the beginning check and balance, you just look at your statement and get that, your deposits, and that's usually going to be from state, local dues. You should put it down where you got your money from. If you have a silent auction, a raffle, or whatever, then you put that in. Your total checking, add that, and your total expenses and your checking balance. Then you go down, you explain your expenses, state, local dues payments, how much you got, the spring meeting and leadership conference expenses, you list that. Now, you don't have to go every little detail. You see, we have it in broad categories, so you don't have to list every little thing. Well, I paid $1 for napkins or whatever. Okay. Locals, new member incentives. If you give an incentive for new members, list that. Executive board planning meeting. If you have a luncheon meeting and you pay for the meals or whatever, fall conference expenses, and the local president's mileage. And then you sign that. Now, this report, like I said, the financial report should be given at the executive board and at the membership meeting. Are there any questions about a financial report? Now, some locals like for you to list who the checks were payable to. I think that's a bit, if you write a lot of checks, that might be a bit much. But what you're writing the checks for, rather than putting each person that you write a check down for. But these are the most important components that you need in your financial report. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions in the chat?
There's one comment from Ginger about the regional treasurer duties apply.
What was that?
Ginger had a comment about the regional treasurer.
Okay, what was the comment?
The statement I made was just that the items that you're listing also apply to regional treasurers,
Yes.
budget, financial report.
Yes, yes. We make a budget for the region, the treasury, all of this applies to that. On the regional level, you will only have to I make a financial report every time we have an executive board meeting.
Right,
You
I do
make a
too.
financial report, right. And
Yeah.
then at the general meeting, when you have your fall meeting or spring meeting, you should make a financial report to your membership. Now, I ask when I give my financial report at our executive board meeting for the presidents to take it back to their local, so they will know what it is. They can make copies or whatever, right? But they should follow the same format, and the budget is the same way.
Right.
Now, on the region level, we make our budget with the executive board, and everybody is inclusive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roger Harris is our secretary, and after every meeting, he always sends copies of the financial and minutes to all of the local
Right.
presidents.
Yeah, the
So it's
president
easy.
should keep your local members informed on what's going on the region level. And most of our presidents do that. If we have an executive board meeting, they will go back and they will, give the information for members. And you can also ask your.
Hi, everyone. Laureate, is this information that you're sharing, is this going to be available for us to, to run off? That we will be able to have copies of that information and also the duties and all?
Yes, you will be sent a packet with all of this information in it. Okay, Tara is gonna send you a packet. I don't know when, but she will send you a packet with all of this information included.
Okay, I know that it says for treasurers, but I'm not a treasurer. So, but I will just a local member.
Okay, you can ask your treasurer if she gets it, to share it with you. I will hope that the treasurer will go back when they have an executive board or a meeting or something and just share this information, with them.
All the packets actually will go to the presidents and the treasurers this week. Considering we have meetings every day, I do need a couple of days to make sure everybody gets the appropriate information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? So we're ready for the next form, the membership form.
Okay.
It's not showing, okay. All right. This is the new membership application. And please don't use any of the old ones that you have. Please get rid of them. You can get a copy of this membership application on the website, and you can print them out, because if you notice going on down, the biggest change is the amount of money, the dues amount. Okay, if they want to purchase an NEA lifetime membership only, it's $300 one-time payment. And then I am already NER life membership $109 a year is what they will pay. Now I want to purchase a NER lifetime membership and join NCRSP. You see what the $300 one-time payment plus the $109 a year. And if you see now the total dues for a one-time payment with someone purchasing a lifetime membership would be $409. But the regular general dues, I just want to purchase an NCRSP membership only, is $144.
Okay, let me expound on that to make sure we're clear on every last one of those different sections.
Okay.
If you have a member who comes up to you and says, you know what, I've been paying, okay, for most members, $116. I think I really want to invest in that NEAR Life membership. That is $300. That can be in every one of these different categories. A person has the option of dividing that lump sum into 10 months. Okay, so if someone is already a member and they want to get the NEAR lifetime membership, $300, they were paying originally $116. Well, now, once they paid that $300, and it can be broken down into 10 monthly payments, their next year dues for annually will only be $81. If you have a brand new member who is wanting to join for the very first time, they actually will be paying the $300 for the NEA Life membership and the $109. It does not take away from the NEA portion of dues until the following year, once that life membership lump sum has been paid. Okay, so you do have members that join, new members that join, who in previous years as an active member purchased that NEA Life membership some years back. They actually do come in at 109 automatically. Okay, some are a little misinformed on what they purchased. It is without a doubt the best thing for them to make sure they check all of their records, because unless membership department at NCAE has notification, has had it in the records that they've been a member of NCAE in years past, and they purchased that life membership, they have to have that notification. They have to have that documentation to show that they actually have purchased it, whether it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, and they don't have it in the system. Maybe some time had lapsed from them being an active member and then wanting to join. Please let them know that they will need verification just in case it does not come up in the system. The system was purged and upgraded about 6 years ago. So there is some records that were not transferred to the new system because they weren't digital. So if a person has purchased an NEA retired life membership a few years back or whenever, have them please keep documentation of that membership. Because if not, it will, if they don't have any kind of record of it, it can be quite hard to get membership to say, oh yeah, they've paid it, because NEA essentially gets that. If they have a problem with finding that documentation, that's a problem with it, and you won't necessarily have that membership like you thought you had. And like I said, for any of these payments, it can be divided into 10 months. You have from the beginning of September all the way through June to pay, and that's how it comes up from a cash pay person, an EFT bank draft person, a credit card person. They have 10 months to actually pay their dues for the year. Payroll for any of these new members, as you can see on here, payroll is an option for a new member. They do have to, first of all, provide their full social. That is the only way that membership can actually do the processing for your payroll deductions to happen. You have 12 months. Payroll goes from August to July through the retirement system. So there's a little different. They do have 12 months. to come in and be able to pay their dues, or they can do it in one lump sum if they choose. Okay, so once again, for anyone who is paying by check, unfortunately, your dues are all due at that very one time. You don't get to do monthly payments for a check. It is only for an EFT, bank draft, or credit card, or payroll. Those are the only options that you can get that can be done monthly for your dues payments. But any questions on those? I want to see if I can make sure it was clear on how those dues amounts can be met. Any questions, Carol? In the chat?
There was one question about why the full social security number, and I said payroll method is the only one where you have to give your full social security.
Yes,
Right.
it has to be. That is no choice. If a person does not provide their full social, they will not be able to enroll with payroll deductions. That's not an option.
And then the next question, where is the payroll checkbox? Is it just hidden on our screen? We don't
It
see
is
it.
hidden. Hold
Oh,
on.
okay.
Mhm. There you
There
go.
it is.
Okay.
Mhm. And please make sure that they sign this, get that signature and date. Make sure that they sign this form.
Okay.
Right.
Is it anything about the form that needs clarification for anyone? Okay.
Ready for the audit report.
Okay, you have the internal audit report. Can you see it?
No, it's not there.
Okay, let's try this.
Okay. What you see now is the internal audit report form. This is the form that has to be filled out and sent in to the state office due by August 15th, 2021. Now, you need to fill out, this is one for local and it's one for the region treasurers. You have to fill one out also. Now for the audit, you need to get, the treasurer does not do the audit. You have to get someone, if you have an audit committee, you can have one person, two people, however, remember, if you want your finance committee to be your audit committee, they can, but you should not be the one to do the audit. Okay, fill out all the information and please look at that highlighted statement. Statements must be official copies from the bank with bank letterhead and dated to capture June the 30th date. Now you may get your statement the first week in July, like I get mine, and we bank with Southern Bank, but the statement covers June 1 through June the 30th. So that's the statement that I will send in with my audit report. Okay, now different banks will have different cutoff dates for statements, but that date of June the 30th should be somewhere captured on that statement. And you need official copies, not you keep the official copy and make a copy, but you must submit an official copy from the bank. Are there any questions about that part?
basically for those who bank with the North Carolina State Employees Credit Union, you will be submitting the first statement of July, because on their statement, they do half and half. So it's going to have the dates of somewhere around June 15th or so to July 15th. As long as that period in which the balance and those totals have a June 30th date, I can accept that. That's good. If you have a regular bank that will do June, say the June 10th through July 8th, yes, I can accept that. That's good. If you have a bank that stops June 1 through June 2018, I cannot accept that. If you have a bank that may not send it to you, or you might not get it until July or August, if that is the statement that has June 30th within it, I can accept it. If you're sending me the statement that is covering the month of July 1 to July 30th, I cannot accept it, and I will have to send it back.
Tara, there's a chat questions. How about a digital statement? How do you do that?
A digital statement, you actually have to print those off. Normally, some of the banking, online banking, you may download it to your particular computer. If you are scanning to me, and I can't accept that, if you're scanning that statement and scanning an actual audit form filled out and signed, I can't accept that. But it still has to be a statement that's coming from the bank. It is nothing that you're actually handwritten or typing up on a blank paper or saying this is our statement for the month. I cannot accept that. They have been sending those in. They will come back to you as unacceptable. It has to be a bank statement.
And you,
Anything
Another
else?
question, Lorette, can the president be on the audit committee?
if the president's name is on that signature card, no. Because no one that has, access to that checking account should be the audit on the audit committee, or, can sign the audit, can do the audit. The person that does the audit must be a NCRSP member. Okay, so you can get someone else to do it, but if that president's name is on that signature part, on that checking account, then they should not do the audit.
Okay. Tara, question for
Yes.
you.
Mhm.
After they scan in the reports and the bank statements, do they still need to mail you a copy?
No, as long as it's legible, and it's pretty much certified that I'm not getting anything that I'm not supposed to have, then yes. And normally I will reply once I get it, that it's been received and it's accepted. But at the same time, please note it's not automatic. Wait for a response just to make sure. I've had, unfortunately, some folks who sent me things that were unacceptable, and they left it at that, and they never responded to any of the messages and correspondence of me letting them know it's not exactly what I needed, and I'm asking them for something different with no response. Please just know that I will. I did it last year, and it was the first year that that we really did see that we need to do it. I will give an update as to the ones that I'm getting. August 15th. I normally will wait until the end of August before I start reporting, because deadlines are deadlines, but they're not always adhered to. But I will try to wait at least until the end of August before I report back and say, hey, I have received these, but I have not received, and I will list in an email that I'm still missing some audits. it- we're trying, and as we can see, things that get in the mail, yes, they do take a little longer. Am I trying to penalize anybody by not meeting August 15th? No, but trust and believe, by the time I get ready to do distributions in November, if I have not had that audit report sent in and verified and completed, you will not receive funds.
Okay, couple more questions. You will acknowledge receipt of the email? You will.
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
all right. The second question, does the audit committee person or the treasurer submit the reports?
Normally, the way they have done, and I can only say, go off how they've been doing it, and they actually express it to me. The treasurer will give the audit committee the information, the books to go over and make sure everything is correct. Sometimes the audit committee will sign off on it and give it back to the treasurer to send in. Some of them actually, the audit committee sends it in. Either way, I'm good as long as I'm verifying that the persons that names are on the account are not the persons who are signing it as the ones who've actually gone over and verified that everything is correct. And if you look up at the top of the form, it is specifically asking you for the officers' names that are on the bank account. Please, ma'am, please, sir, do not put the local name on there, because that's not what I'm asking for. It's asking for the officer's name that is on that bank account. So whatever your president's name is, whatever your treasurer's name is, whatever that second person besides the treasurer's name is, those names should be there, because that's what I'm verifying. And I'm having to verify that those names that I'm looking at is not the same name at the bottom that's actually doing the verification. If it is, I am going to contact you and let you know I'm sending it back. I can't accept it. If you don't have someone, as say, if you don't have an audit committee, any member of NCRSP can be able to get with you and look over your books, look over your banking statements, and verify that the information that is asked for is correct. Okay. I know that we do have a couple of counties that are really struggling to have officers and even chairpersons. You have to please, if you are like a lone wolf in this fight to take care of books and everything else, please contact the state office. What we're going to do is, it's a case-by-case basis, but like for the one that I do know of, we have one treasurer. There's no other officers, there's no other chairpersons. They actually send their information to the state. We go over it in the office and make sure it is what it is and sign off on it as well on that audit form. That can be done. And that's a circumstance when there's nobody but one person, and you couldn't get any of your other members to actually help with looking over the statements in the books and doing verification. Okay. Any other questions, Carol?
No, that's it.
Okay.
And
So,
in my region, I asked my treasurers to send me a copy of their audit report. So when there is something wrong or whatever, and Tara calls me or emails me, I can say, well, I have a copy of it or whatever, because we did have a situation where it was sent in. I don't know what happened. It got crossed in the lines, but I did have a copy of that treasurer's audit report. So that might be something that you would ask your local treasurers to do, is to send the regional treasurer a copy. And that's good to have if Tara would email you or ask you a question.
Yeah.
She will email you and tell you, I have not received this from local so-and-so, so would you contact the treasurer, to see what the problem is.
And see, there are different forms. This form right here that you should be able to see now, this is for a region.
Mhm.
So I mean, they're interchangeable, but just so you know that there is a form for each of them, and each of them have to actually submit it every year. I apologize in advance for at any time that I do not respond quick enough to receiving. I am having to do a couple different things with it, but trust and believe, if I see it, I will be able to respond, okay? And if I will again apologize if I overlook, say I've responded to you, but all of a sudden I'm doing a listing and inadvertently put in somebody who has turned it in and it's showing that they haven't, a quick email back, please. Such and such, I've gotten a local on here that we've sent it in this day or whatever. I will definitely go back in there and make sure. I will double check, but I will apologize if that mistake happens, because it has happened before. I've seen it,
Yes.
put it on a log sheet, but inadvertently put somebody in where they shouldn't have been. Okay. Human
Alright.
error.
Yep. And on the form, can you put the form
Oh,
back
you want to put it?
just one more time?
Okay.
I've had questions asked about other assets. Some of you may have accounts, your scholarship fund or whatever. That's what they're talking about. The statement name, statement date, and how much is there. But most of you will have just a checking account. But like I said, some people have a savings account also. Are there any other questions about the form? Okay, and as you see at the bottom, they have a line for the auditor's name that's printed, auditor's signature, and their phone number. And make sure all that's filled out.
Please make it legible so I can see it, just in case I ever have to make a phone call as to the information, something I'm not reading correctly, something that has been scribbled on, crossed out. Sometimes I do need verification. So please make that legible so I know who to contact.
And these forms are on the website. I don't know whether
Yes.
she's gonna send you one or what, but they are on the website and it's good. And make sure you keep a copy. When you send it in, before you send it in, make a copy and you keep a copy for your records. You should keep that in your records also. Are there any questions?
All of these forms will come in the packet as well. Okay, for all the information that we've been sharing today, the forms will also be in that email packet as well. And just so I can go, I need to go back to the members, the officers in New Hanover County. New Hanover County, as I alluded to earlier today for the meeting, your membership dues are different than everybody else's. So your form actually is not on the website. Your form will be sent to all of your officers and chairpersons to have, and you make copies and send it to all the rest of your members if need be, because you all are different in the dues that you're asking for. Your local, yours can't be the same as what everybody else gets online. And we don't want to confuse them, because if we confuse them and give them the regular form, you won't get the amount for your local that you're asking for. You're only going to get the local that is submitted through the normal regular dues for the year for everybody else.
Tara, how does that work then when they do online membership applications then?
Actually, until NEA goes through and maybe they can make that correction right now. Is not saying that they can. They've had this problem before. For anybody in New Hanover, it's going to give a regular amount. They're going to see a regular amount, but membership will make a phone call to you to let you know that there's another $5 that needs to be collected for the dues for New Hanover County.
All right, so we would be
It will.
better off to go ahead and do it a manual application
Correct. Correct.
at this time. All righty.
Yep,
That's
at
good to
this time.
know because we have been using the phone, the
Okay.
the online app thing. So we will switch off of that.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
didn't know that. Thank you for telling us that. Thank you.
No
I have a
problem.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are the cash pay forms in triplicate, or do we still have to keep one copy and mail one to the local treasurer and one to Raleigh?
They actually go to the local treasurer, so the regionals won't get it unless the local treasurer sends them a copy. It is only in duplicate. The top part, top white copy comes back to the state. And the other copy, I believe it's yellow, will be a receipt for the member themselves. So if they're signing it, a treasurer will send their copy. A member will look it over and say, okay, this is correct. I've made sure all of my information is correct. I'm attaching my check with the amount that is shown at the bottom for total. They do not get to take away and say, well, I'm only going to pay my local. It's going to come back to them because you have to pay all of it at once. Once they put that check in there and they send it back to the local treasurer, as long as we're getting that white copy, we're good. You can actually put in your letters when you're sending out to your members for them after they've signed it or, they're enclosing their check to keep that yellow copy for their receipt and send the local treasurers the white copy in their check. That works too. And you can make a copy at that time for your records.
Thank you.
Okay.
May I
Any-
suggest, Tara?
Yes.
I have found that if they make a copy of that form before they send it to the people, it's better because when
Good
some
idea.
get it,
Don't lose it.
they just lay it aside or whatever. Then they want to call and ask you, do you have another copy? Or I don't know what I'm supposed to pay or whatever. So when you get those copies, those forms, if you would just go on and make a copy for your records and then send them to your cash pay members. And you will then you will have a copy in case, for whatever reason.
That does help. We know that people lose them and set them aside easy.
Yes, they just throw them, lay them aside and forget about them.
Yes, they will. Okay.
And you need to put that in your budget for the printing and so forth, for you making copies for the treasurer, making copies or whatever of those forms. All of that should go in your budget.
Okay. Any questions on those cash pay forms while we're on the subject? Okay. I wanted to clarify dues distribution for our regional treasurers and our locals to know. Distribution is quarterly. Now, did I say which quarter is going to be arriving in what month? No, I did
No.
not. What we try to do, we try to capture as much at the beginning of the year. We have the luxury of, I don't even know if it's a luxury. We have some dues that are collected in August, and that's going to be payroll. And anybody who is trying to catch up with their dues for the previous year, that fourth quarter dues will only come out when NCAE closes its books, which is August the 31st. So unfortunately, it'll never be in our membership year that all 4 quarters arrive because we're not on the same time schedule. So the fourth quarter, normally you will see it somewhere in between the first and the end of September. We try to get that out if we can get that from NCAE once they close their books, because they have to do their portion of accounting before they'll even allow us to get that report and those checks coming in, okay? First quarter is going to be the start of our membership year. Anything that we are getting, monies start collecting in September. The first draft happens in September. September 2nd, to be actually exact. It's automatic. So if you're set up, any member set up on EFT or credit card draft, it's going to be the 2nd unless they have opted to have their dues taken out on the 25th. There is a letter for all draft members who have an email. They will get a letter from NCAE, and it is going to say NCAE on the outside and at the top of the letterhead. You may see NCRSP somewhere in the letter now, but normally it is going to come from the membership department at NCAE, letting you know that the dues draft will start September the 2nd. So for anybody who needs to change, update, or cancel a draft, you have to do that in the time allotted before that draft happens September 2nd. And normally Janice actually has a date timeline in the letter that's letting you know, hey, you have until this time period to make any changes before the draft happens. Once the draft happens, it's going through. Can it be stopped? No. So if you don't have any money in there, there is going to be a draft fee on you. If you need to change it and the account's closed, what's going to happen is there's going to be a failure to collect those dues for the month on your account. You're going to get an automatic email letting you know that there is a problem with your payment going through. These are your options. We're going to try the next month and put in 2 drafts, or would you like, say, your draft is $14.40 for these new folks. I'll just do new folks. Your draft is $14.40 a month. You missed that first month. Your second month is going to be that $29, $28, and $80. Or you can divide the draft month that you missed into the rest of the months that's available. Okay. Please don't make me do the math trying to put $14.40 into the rest of 9 months. But you have an option to please make sure that the draft takes place. Say you forgot and you changed and you didn't let membership or us, you can call the state office and we can update as well. Side note, they're trying to have an option on the NEA payment billing page for you to update. We don't know if that's happening for us just yet, but we know there's some things behind the scenes that we're trying to make it easier for those tech savvy folks that love just being across the board online. Okay, we're working on that. We haven't got a finality on all the features being available to us, but we're working on it. Okay. But as long as you are somewhere in the middle of the month and your draft didn't happen, you can always say, oh, I made a mistake. I got a notification that my draft didn't go through. Can you draft it on the 25th? It can be done. And this is only for drafts, but it does change your draft from that point on to the 25th of the month. Okay. So just in case you want to make sure you correct anything that is in error, you have from the first draft at the second to the second draft, the 25th, to make that change. Okay.
Question, Tara.
Yes, ma'am.
When will the treasurers receive the enrollment forms in the mail?
Enrollment forms or cash pay renewals? There's a difference.
Re-enrollment form.
Okay, cash pay. Cash pay, we are looking to have the file to the printer the 1st of July. And prayerfully, by the end of July, we can have it gone out to all the treasurers to receive. Can I give you a date? No. Too many variables happen for me to give you a date because we'll never be able to stick to it. We do have an outside printer that does it. I've had cash pay forms that were done wrong and they had to be reprinted, which took a little bit more time. Things happen. So I won't give you a date. What we are going for is to have it out in the mail for all treasurers to receive the end of July, so they can receive it by the 1st of August and send it out. Okay. That's what the goal is. So that's what we will work on. Okay. Anything else? Oh, Miss Linda, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Any other questions about them? Okay. For our locals who receive quarterly distribution checks, they do come from your regional treasurers. For anybody who has a regional treasurer that may be a little slow in sending out those local checks, you can always, if you don't contact them, you can always call me or shoot me an email and say, hey, can you tell me if the checks have gone out? I will be able to tell you when the checks went out to the regions and notify them and give them a little, a little nudge. Hey, have you gotten your regional checks and have you started sending out your locals? I can do that. Okay. Any more questions? Like I said, most of the forms that we went over, the audit form, the new membership form, all of those forms are already on the NCRSP website. So if you have not gone to it, please go in and look around on the website and find it. It is in the members only section. Once you start to look around into the different tabs and categories, you'll be able to find them. You have a category that says forms. If you need something specific to the local, there's a section for local. If you need something specific to the region is separate. And you can get those forms online. So at any time period, you say, I lost, I can't find, I deleted my email, those forms can be found online. And we're trying to make sure that as we update and get into the new season, the new years for different things, we're updating them on the website so you can have them at your fingertips anytime you need them. Okay. For anybody that has members and you are in conversations, whether you're in a meeting or outside of a meeting somewhere, finding somebody in the grocery store that you're talking to and say, hey, you want to talk about NCRSP? On the website, on the home page, everyone who goes to NCRSP's website has an option to print up a form for enrollment. It is available for anybody coming to the website. So they don't have to be a member to get on the backside just to get a membership form or just want to find out a little bit more about NCRSP, because that is on the forefront of the website. Okay. All right.
You might want to tell them what the passcode is. I've had some that say, well, I don't know the password.
Okay, and for all members. Now, I will specify again, this is only for members. You will not give it out to anybody who wants to join. You will not give it to your neighbor. You won't even give it to your child. This is for members only. It is NCRSP. The acronym, you put the acronym in, you can get right into that back page, members only. Normally it is a little section that's in your panorama that's going to say it because we have it all the time. If you ever need to know the password, and some people think they have a personal password for it, no, you do not. NCRSP will let you in as a member. What they may be confusing with is if, and I hope everybody has as a member, gone onto the NEA member benefits website. That, my friends, is a hidden jewel that's not so hidden. It's just you have to be willing to look. On any information that you have that you're seeing on the front side of the NCRSP website information, even on the member side, member benefits has a different website that you can go into, and it unlocks so many benefits, it's ridiculous. So if you have somebody that's coming aboard and you're trying to convince them and you're trying to say, you know, it's great to be a part of the organization that's keeping your pension and keeping the benefits that you love from the state that you received so long ago, your health insurance and things like that. If you can't convince them on a collective how joining is beneficial, you can up the ante by going over some of those member benefits that pay for your membership dues in one fell swoop. I mean, discounts on just about everything. So now that we're actually getting ready to go back out full scale into this world, restaurants, entertainment, hotels, car rentals, credit cards, mortgage loans, appliances, membership warehouses. There is literally so much that you can get discounts on that it really will pay for whatever dues amounts you're paying for the year. Seriously. So please, by all means, everyone, every member, go onto the NEA member benefits website. Everyone should have a card. We've been giving cards out once a year for the past, 3-4 years now. It never expires. We try to make sure everyone has it. Please don't lose them. We don't actually print them up ourselves. So there is an allotment that we have to meet in order to get them printed. That's why we only do it once a year. Temporary cards can be sent to anybody. You can laminate them yourself if you need to. Office Depot, Staples, they will laminate certain things for you, minimum price, 15, 20 cents or something like that. And you can have your membership card. That way you can have it on you. But member benefits from NEA is massive. Go in and register. Your name, your member ID number, where you live, your zip code. There are specials and discounts that are only for your particular area that you can take advantage of. Cell phone bills, laptops, computer work, all of that stuff. You actually have a plethora of benefits to take advantage of. So we do encourage you, please, to go to that member benefits page and take advantage of those benefits that you get with your membership. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Anything else? All right.
Finish.
Any other questions?
Well, that was awesome. Tara, thank you. Lorette, thank you. Thank you. You guys have always done a really good job. I'm so glad we could get you two paired back together to get this information out that we need. Good, whether it's, I learned a few things today, so refresher for some, new for others, and that's all right. And again, just hats off and thank you so much. Again, this session was recorded and it will be available. And like Tara, I need a couple of days too to get it up there, and we will make it available and send it out and let you know when and where to get it. So if there are no other questions, we will conclude this meeting. And hopefully we'll see you all on our next session. I think tomorrow is region directors at 10. So
Question.
yes.
Okay, so I was advised that we would have access to the recordings and the decks, slide decks. Is that right?
Yes, we'll make the recording available, and any slides that came from sessions will also be available. I don't know where that's coming from.
Somebody's phone.
So, all right.
Teresa?
Yes. I'm sorry.
I missed that answer.
Okay, mute yourself and we'll repeat it. Mute your line. Teresa, reiterate the answers to Miss Vivian's questions.
It's coming from your line. Okay, so the recordings will be made available. Once they're posted, we will send out an email to let you know where they are. We cannot send the recording directly to you. But Tara and Lorette have packets of information that will come directly to you.
Is there any way you can type that in the chat? Because whoever that is not muted.
She didn't realize it was her line. Okay.
No.
Okay, we'll put it in the chat.
Yes. All right. The recordings will be made available and you'll see an email on how to access them. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again, ladies. Wonderful job. Everyone enjoy the rest of your afternoon.